Hello, everyone watching us across the world. You're welcome to today's webinar in anticipation and preparation for International Women's Day. And if this is brought to you by Ficun Trust, you could check us up, our website, ficuntrust.com. And it's going to be an amazing collaboration because in the house, we have our beautiful speaker, and we'll be introducing her to you so that you will not guess too much. Some people who will be watching her from Ghana, they already know her. Some who have been following her on Facebook from Nigeria, they would have come across her bio and her profile. All right, with us in the house is Deborah Dort-Dotse, a transformational leader, mental health advocate, vision refiner, wellness coach, editor, and MC. Deborah Dort-Dotse is a distinguished leader and multifaceted professional whose influence spans spiritual guidance, mental health advocacy, and transformative coaching. As a pastor and co-founder of Royal Sparkle Mission International, she exemplifies the powerful intersection of faith, mental wellness, and personal development in creating lasting positive change. As the executive director of the Sound Mind Lounge, Deborah spearheads innovative mental health initiatives that are reshaping the conversation around psychological wellness. Our organization specializes in youth-centric mental health programs, community awareness campaign that are into reduction of stigma, and it's a mental health initiative into education and support, crisis intervention, and support system under her leadership. The Sound Mind Lounge has become a beacon of hope and transformation, creating safe spaces for open dialogue about mental health challenges and solutions. And to our listeners, it will delight me to welcome and to let you know who Deborah Dort-Dotse is. Hi, Deborah. Welcome to today's webinar.
Welcome, Deborah.
Hello, Abigail. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jumoke. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. And to our listeners, our viewers, I want you to know that this is a collaboration from different countries that are getting the best today. And our theme is empowering women, mental health and well-being in today's world. And we have a whole lot to speak to you today about. All I want you to do, I have my bottle of water here. All I want you to do is grab your pack of popcorn with your juice and enjoy. We're not going to take your time, and everything is going to be worth listening. All right. Hi, Dr. Jumoke. You're welcome to the show also.
Thank you, Abigail. Thank you. It's wonderful to do a conversation with you again.
You're welcome. And Ami, you're welcome.
Yes, I'm not sure if Amy can hear us. Amy, can you hear us? I think oh, good. She can.
All right, thank you. So for the bandwidth, to ensure that we are able to reduce the glitches, dear viewers, we'll be turning off our video at intervals, but we just wanted to put a face to different voices, just in case our video go off. Just know that we're trying to make you enjoy the show. Guys, thank you. Are we ready? It's going to be a banter. Anyway, we're not going to be on a hot seat, but it's going to be an interactive session where everybody is going to chip in and we can interject at interval. So we're going to start with, since it's a Women's Day, empowering women. I will be asking Dr. Jumoke this. What actually made you come up with the initiative that a webinar should be done in preparation or in celebration of the International Women's Day, please?
Oh, thank you very much, actually, for that question. I think the main reason is connected to the focus of Ficun Trust. We're really all about education, capacity building, empowerment programs. And so leading up to International Women's Day, it is, front and center in our minds to think about, what else can we talk about to bring focus to the issues that continually, women all over the world have to deal with in one way or the other today, not just today, almost every other day. There's always something. And so the opportunity to, have all of us come together and shed some light on an issue that is often, again, very much marginalized, very much, very hardly discussed. We thought would be a really good thing for our benefit, of course, to remind ourselves of why we do this work and why this work is important, but then also to connect with other women all over the world who will be, getting the opportunity to view this, to remind them that they're not alone, that this is not an isolated issue, that there are people all over the world who are, available and willing and able to help and support in whatever way they can.
Wow, that's a whole lot. Thank you so much. And viewers will be wondering, but Deborah Dotse is the speaker. Why did Abigail actually say Dr. Jumoke should tell us why this webinar is coming up? All right, Dr. Jumoke is the founder of Fikun Trust, and that is why we actually want to know the reason why we are having this webinar. Somebody will say, okay, this Abigail that has been speaking, see, so is Abigail. All right, my name is Abigail Olasehinde. I'm the lead therapist and founder of Berwet Mind Clinic. Right. Deborah, welcome honorably to the webinar once again. And I want to ask you this beautiful question. I'm not putting you on the spot, but can you share a personal experience that highlights the importance of mental health and well-being in your life, please?
Yes, I have a very, I don't know if it's a surreal story, because I have been a survivor, or I survived mental and postpartum depression and psychosis. I think that was one of the toughest things I've ever had to go through. And the reason why it was tough, because I was blindsided. I had no idea. I'd never heard anything about postpartum depression in my life. So I was just having so many feelings, I had the option to either kill myself or kill the baby, but I thought it would be wiser to kill the baby, because apparently she's the reason why I'm in this condition, And I want to piggyback on something. I discovered that when I came to Ghana, I came for a purpose. And the reason why I came to Ghana, I couldn't fulfill it. I became depressed without knowing I was depressed. So the depression lingered until, because I kept asking myself, I'm here, what am I doing? I'm supposed to do this, and why is it not coming? I was confused, I was stressed, I was anxious, a lot of things. I had a lot of voices. My parents were like, oh, come back to Cameroon. What are you doing in Ghana? I'm like, okay, if I were to go back to Cameroon, what am I going to be doing? Am I just going to sit in my parents' house? I had all these conflicts going on. So I decided that, no, I'm going to stay in Ghana and see what I can do. And in my life, I've never failed at anything. I've always been having things work out. So to be in a situation where things are not working out or have not worked out, I didn't know how to process my feelings. And I know a lot of women at sports where that. So 2 years after I was in Ghana, I became pregnant with my daughter. It just compounded the issues. A lot of things started coming out. Anxiety, depression, everything. That time I couldn't put a name to it because I didn't know what it was. I just was angry. Like, I haven't accomplished what I came to do now with a child. What am I going to be doing with a child? I was clueless. So I had to go through that. And because my family is not here for support, I had to go through that maze alone. So you can imagine a mother depressed before, pre-depression, in depression, then post. So I went through that whole winding road, clueless, no idea, nothing. So my husband, before he even comes, he has to look at my face before he greets me. I was practically always angry, flaring out, crying. I can be fine today, I'm not fine the next minute. Everything that has got to do with depression, I had it so glaring. So I moved from depression to getting psychotic because I was paranoid, seriously. The baby will be crying. I'll just look at the baby and say, why won't you die and let me rest? That kind of thing. Now I'm saying it's funny, but at that time it wasn't. I was dealing with so much. And I remember she was not eating. She was looking so frail. And one day I went to God, I said, so if you are giving people children, you will not look. Is this one that you are giving to me looking so tiny and frail? When I go for weighing, I'll see people having bulky children. They'll carry their children very nice. They'll weigh. I'm like, I'll go and grab mine and cover it. I'm like, this child, why won't you just die and let me, or stuff. I remember one day just calling my mom. I started complaining. I'm like, people are asking children, me, I'm not this. I was complaining and ranting and talking. And my mom just looked at me. She said, you're an ingrate. And I sat quiet. She said, there are people looking even for preemie babies. Preemie, that means even premature. They don't have. You have a full baby. Who told you that the way you are looking, that is how you were looking when you were a baby? Do you want me to describe how you were looking? You were looking so long. You know, and after I had that conversation with my mom, it was like something just lifted up. It was just this, and I began to look at the baby in a new light, looked at her. I'd never really taken time to look because I was always angry, crying and all that. So at that time, it brought my focus back to what was important. I looked at the baby. I said, my mom said there are people out there looking for a baby and I have the opportunity to have one. So let me try my best to take care of this one. Yes, I may not have wanted you, but you are here already, so there's nothing I can do about it. So I began to navigate that time. And that's when I went to the internet. Because I didn't know the name, I Googled the symptoms, the things I was going through. And that is when the name postpartum depression came up. And it was after like 15 or so years, 17 years later, I'd never spoken about it. Even my mom, everybody was surprised when I started the show. It was like, you went through this, you went through this. Yes, I did. But at that time, I was ignorant. So those are one of the things that made me want to go into mental health advocacy. Because if my mom had not intervened, I wouldn't know what I would have done with the baby or myself at that time. So based on experience, that was what happened to me. And I thank God that everything went well. But there are some women that may not.
Wow, wow, wow. This is really, really huge. And
Yeah,
I've heard
it
of
is.
Deborah's story before, but I'm pretty sure that Dr. Jumoke and Ami are just listening to it for the first time. And our viewers, a whole lot of you might be listening to it for the first time. If you're able to resonate with what Deborah just said now, can you just indicate in the chat box? Just let us know that you are able to resonate with it. If you have a question, please just drop it in the chat box. You have a question, just drop it. You want to share your mind, you want to say something, you want to express yourself, maybe anonymously, or you just want. Please just drop it in the chat box. We'll be glad to provide responses to it. And from what Deborah said, Dr. Jumoke, what do you think? What can you say about it?
Oh, Deborah, what can I say? I have to say, thank you so much for sharing. That's really, really deep, but also quite familiar because what I have had stories around issues of postpartum depression. And I think oftentimes when people talk about it or when they approach it, they're like, somewhat similar to what you just said about what your mom said. Oh no, why are you, ungrateful that, God has blessed you with a child? But then, of course, we have to think about the cultural context. We have to think about the societal, expectations around, you don't talk about things like this. Shh. No, you're fine. Everything is good, which brings us to one of the big challenges around mental health discussions and conversations, the stigma. Oh no, nobody should hear about this. Nobody should know. What do you mean you can't take care of your child? You carry this child for 9 months. What do you mean? You're not happy to have a child. You're a woman, you're an African woman. You should be happy, you should be grateful. But what about you? What about the person? What about me, the individual? What about you know, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, you know, whether or not I'm, you know, did I even sleep through the night? Do I even know what is happening? Deborah touched on something that's really important, the fact that, you know, or at least that I thought was really key. You know, her dreams, her desires, her hopes, you know, when she had gone to Cameroon, a lot of the things that she had been thinking I would like to do, I would like to get done, that were not done, that were not fulfilled. And in the middle of all of that came what is traditionally considered a blessing, right? But within that context is, you know, this battle and struggle with the self. And I would imagine that that piece around the self is sometimes what is missing in our conversations, because as women, and also as African women, we are raised, we are nurtured, we are trained to be, you know, selfless. Give to the other person, give to the community, give to your parents, give to your family, without, you know, sometimes having that opportunity to pause and breathe, having that moment to replenish, you know, having a chance to sit back and look at the self and say, what is in me to give? I mean, right? Like, if your vessel is empty, what are you pouring into somebody else, right? And not only empty, it's empty to the point that it's also dry. And it's like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do, what's to go, I don't know where to turn to. And also what she also said, she could not even talk to anybody, right? Like, couldn't even mention it to anyone because, again, that, you know, stigma. So I have to say, I'm so grateful and also, you know, very much proud of you to see how you are now taking what, you know, was a personal challenge, a personal pain, and you're now sharing that story, you know, and giving other women potentially opportunity to be able to learn from that and to be able to also know that, no, this is not some isolated incident. You're not alone. This is not, oh, I think I'm going crazy, I'm scared, I'm going to do. There's help, there's hope. You're not the first person to go through it. You, unfortunately, will be the last person to go through it. And there are communities out there to help you, to support you. And we will definitely post in the description more information about the various resources that I'm sure, you know, can be accessed to from anywhere in the world, because, you know, some of them are virtual.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Jumoke. That was really expository, and I believe our listeners have gotten everything they need to get, and I'm pretty sure they're going to take action. Now, one thing I want us to know in the world of speaking as a clinical psychologist is postpartum depression is the symptoms are very subtle. Initially, they might come in a very harmless way, come like maybe a little distress, a little pain, a little stress, and just like a little drop makes a mighty ocean, before you know what is going on, it has skyrocketed. So to every woman out there, it might even be something as little as you just gave birth in the hospital, and because you believe you are not beautiful enough, and that child looks like you detest that child. And then you begin to say, why didn't you look like your dad? Of everybody, why did you choose to look like me? And they say the mother hates the child. Before what is going on, it begins to come with a little subtle symptoms. And I'll be leaving us with this then. Everyone is unique in their own way. Every woman is unique in their own way. The same way a woman is with we conceive, and maybe a medical illness surfaces. It's the same way on that woman we conceive without any medical illness. We are all unique in our ways. Never judge another woman based on your yardstick. For the fact that maybe you had an enjoyable 9-month pregnancy and someone else is having complications and issues, please never judge anyone by your yardstick. And if you feel like speaking, please reach out to Fecund Trust, reach out to any of us and express yourself. You feel like you need to be heard. We are here to hear you. We are here to listen to you. We are here to provide certain responses. We are here to give you that support that you need to go through that journey and heal so that you can also come out tomorrow and probably share your story for someone. Thank you once again, Deborah and Dr. Jumoke. I'm very sure that the listeners enjoy that. I'll be asking Ami this question. Ami, are you ready for us? What are some
I
common
think she might be, Abigail, I think Amy may have dropped off. I don't know, maybe it's something to do with that connection.
Okay, very well then.
Yeah,
All
she's
right.
not online.
All right, thank you. Okay, then I'll be asking Dr. Jumoke this question. What are some common misconceptions about mental health that you might have encountered? Possibly not you, possibly it might be a personal encounter. It might even be some observations, but would you want to share with us some common misconceptions about mental health that you've encountered, please?
Yeah, thank you. Oh, wow. So, too many to mention. On a personal note, but also, like out there in public in terms of the stigma, the big piece, which we already started to touch on. But I think one of the biggest misconceptions perhaps would be, this assumption that it happens to other people. It's from my personal experience, that is huge, where, when the minute you mention it, and somebody goes like, what is that? What do you mean? Nothing is wrong with you. You're fine. What do you want to do? There is this, overriding, but also subtle, assumption around you're making a big deal of nothing. Just sit down, drink some water, just go and get some sleep. You'll be fine. Whereas, and I'm not even that much knowledgeable about psychology, but when you think about the concept of the mind, the way the mind works, and also the conversations that we have with ourselves as individuals, talk about self-talk, and make people make the assumption that, oh, you're talking to yourself, and so you think that means that your mind is messed up, or your mind is quote unquote, you say your mind is not correct, and it's like, yeah, maybe it isn't, and maybe you do need to go have something checked. Maybe you do need to get into some counseling, maybe to talk to someone. And I think if you look at our current reality where everything is fast-paced, snippets, sound bites, but not everybody, but many people put anything and everything about their lives online, specifically social media. There is a level challenge around mental awareness that I hesitate to say, but I think there is a tsunami of, challenge around mental awareness in virtual space that we have not even started to touch the tip of the issues. Because, we talk about, you start looking at some posts and you hear somebody, oh, this person is unraveling. Or, somebody writes something and you go into the comment section and say, oh, that conversation is giving me PTSD. I'm like, do you even know what you're talking about? Like, whenever I see those comments, I'm like, wait a minute, you just, you're really just turning this to a pedestrian label. And I'm thinking, do you know what that means? Do you know what that says? I mean, the person could just be dropping it because they've seen somebody else use that term. But then when you see what they've written and what they're engaging with or what they're talking about, I'm like, maybe you do have some trauma. It might not be specifically that, but maybe you are talking from a place of trauma challenge, from a place of, anxiety, from a place of, projecting is another word that comes up. And so the misconception around it happens to other people is so big, is so pregnant. But when you take a minute to actually sit and do some self-reflection, there is a continuum. it could be that it's somewhere right there at the beginning, it might be somewhere in the middle, and I'm not suggesting that everyone in the world is suffering from some form of mental illness. But, and I use a very strong word, what I am saying is there are some out there who should be taking some critical self-look, self-reflection to say, why am I like this? Why am I angry all the time? Why do I get triggered by X, by Y, by Z? And not necessarily go, oh, now I have to go and see a psychologist, so now I have to go into mental clinical. But this self-reflection, do some assessment to be able to determine that maybe I do need support with one thing or the other. Maybe it's just a fix. So at the end of the day, it's not about you thinking it happens to be, it happens to say, not me.
Yeah.
I'm a strong person, I'm a good person, nothing like that. It was in my family, so I have no idea to tell you. So I think that would be the one big misconception that I would like to reflect on, is that assumption that that can be moved to somebody else. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. And honestly speaking, the meta space, the social media is actually putting a whole lot of people on their toes. Putting a lot of people on their toes. And just as you said, comparison here, comparison there. A lot of people saying things, as Sigmund Freud would say, the slip of tongue. Some people, it might be a slip of tongue, and from there you're able to pick out, I think something is wrong with this person. And from what you said, I was able to pick out some things. One of the misconceptions that some people have observed that some people actually indulge in, you hear phrases like, don't cry on the baby, be strong. Now imagine someone who is going through pain, who is going through depression, who is going through trauma, and she's letting out those tears. I think the first thing could be, take the baby from her, and then you provide the support. Instead of shutting her down on her emotions, making it feel like she's doing the wrong thing, coupled with what is actually happening to her. Crying is a part of healing. It all depends on how you feel after you've cried. So if after you've cried, you feel overwhelmed, you feel sad, you feel burdened, then you need to seek out for help. But if it's during therapy, you cry, definitely you are going to feel relieved. So crying is a part of healing. It all depends on how you feel after you've cried. And from what Dr. Jumoke said, especially when she mentioned that part of people saying, oh, I just had a PTSD. I jotted a few things. I said, I think a lot of people out there knows the name of their psychological disorder. Very funny. But they don't have a clue on how to get help. Others, they don't know how to be helped. To some, they are not ready to be helped. So another group of people, they are not ready to pay the price to go through therapy and be healed. And there are some people, they don't believe they can be healed. They believe that is who they are. They need to go through that phase like that. Just in case you are listening to us at this moment, we want you to know that we value you. We don't understand how you feel, but we are ready to give the support to walk you through the healing journey. We are ready to have a mental picture of what you've gone through so that we can be able to know how best to give you the help you need. And I want you to know that therapy is not about talking. There are different therapeutic techniques. All you need is to be intentional, to be willing to be helped. And you'll be so surprised the way Fikun Trust is going to provide all the help that you will need. And just in case you are a woman out there and you are going through postpartum depression, and you've thought that Yoruba will say abisinwi or something like that, somebody that's postpartum psychosis. After giving birth, they have a mental health disorder, mental health illness. Just in case you think that there's actually no solution to it, just in case you've heard of one woman in the village that it happened to 20 years ago, and that grandmother that it happened to 50 years ago, someone it happened to 10 years ago, and they're actually that same way as they've always been. I'm pretty sure you've listened to Deborah Dort-Dotse, and just in case you didn't hear when she was sharing her story, you could go back, you could click the reverse, click backward so you could hear her story. And this will be an encouragement to you that you can also heal if you let us give you the support that you need. Thank you. I'm beginning to get emotional. Now, self-care and coping strategies. What self-care practices can we incorporate into our daily routine to maintain mental health well-being? How can we balance self-care with other responsibilities and commitments? Each of us will actually be given a point, and just to make it interactive. All right, let me go first. I could remember some 4 or 5 years ago, a colleague, someone was sharing a story with me, and the person said, "Can you believe that my sister-in-law lost the pregnancy?" I was like, oh my condolences. That must really hurt. And he was like, what? She's just a lazy ass. She's a lazy bone. I was like, really? What do you say? What made you say so? He said, she does not do any work. It's the husband that goes to work. The only thing she needs to do is to clean the house. Ordinary cleaning the house, she cannot clean. I said, excuse me, what do you mean by cleaning the house? Ordinary cleaning the house, she cannot clean. Don't tell me you actually expected her to sweep. He said, if she does not sweep, who will do the sweeping? Unfortunately, it was one of those days of bending to sweep that a miscarriage happened. And there was actually a complication that made her lose the baby. As men listening to us out there, I want you to know that that journey of 9 months, your wife being pregnant, is actually not it's not beans. In fact, to cook beans, that's why we have pressure pots to make it faster. Fortunately and unfortunately, we cannot make it faster. We cannot make do of it like pressure pots and make it 1 month. A whole lot of hormones are being secreted. A whole lot of neurotransmitters are in action. The bones, they have a whole lot of work to contend with. That pregnancy alone is a whole lot of work. The least she expects from you is support, is understanding, is care. Make that journey easier for her. Don't forget, it takes two to tango. The copulation was not done by her alone. That coitus, say, daddy, give it to me hot, hot. Hey, baby, I'm coming. It was not done by her alone. Two of you made it work. And she'll be really glad if two of you can actually make it work. Because if you don't make it work, it's going to tell on the child. And you know what? You're going to increase the work of we mental health therapists, because we'll have to do with a whole lot of adverse childhood experiences. And maybe when you start to change, your neighbors start to change. Before what is going on, 1 year, 1 year, we make the world a happy place. All right, I'll leave it open. Who want to speak next on this same self-care and coping strategies, please?
Okay, so self-care, there was something Dr. Jumoke said that talked about the selflessness of women, where women are supposed to give. Everybody expects, like the lady, she's expected that by virtue of the fact that she's a woman, she's supposed to, even in pregnancy, to do that, to still take care of the house, to still cook and all of that. I have one of the most difficult pregnancies. I would vomit, I would spit, I mean, it's really bad. I'm like, it's really bad. So if you're around me and you're not careful, you'll be bored. Because my husband went through a lot, cleaning vomit, throwing spit, throwing, you know, and sometimes, like with my first pregnancy, what even made it even more difficult was because I was always in the hospital. I'll go and get some anti-vomiting drip. By the time it gets to 3 days, that's worn off. I'm back to vomiting. I'm back to the hospital. So we kept going back and forth. So because of that, we have a lot of women that have easy pregnancies, and we have a lot of women that have difficult pregnancies. Abigail, you mentioned that earlier. So I think there is a need for people to be trained, for people to be taught. Most of the people compare their wives with their mothers. Like my husband says, the mother gave birth in the house. She'll give birth now, baby herself, cut herself, then go to the farm. So if I'm spitting everywhere and I'm vomiting everywhere, you'll be looking at me, I beg, look at this one. My mother that gave birth to farm to go and collect cassava. You are here doing all these Gen Z women. Gen Z girls. People don't have anything. You don't know anything. So we have men, quote and unquote, we call them traditional men, where they have that perception. It's ingrained, it's enshrined in their mind that this is how it's supposed to be, or this is how the woman is supposed to comport herself. So the man has no mercy for the lady that has lost her child. And probably even with that, she could be battling with a lot of things after that. Losing her child, she'll be going through stress, anxiety, a form of postpartum, and a lot of those things. He can't see it. The only thing he knows is she's lazy. The little work she had to give birth to a child, she can't deliver. Look at it. So why do we need her? We needed her to give birth and she cannot. So some of those things men need to be taught. Even when people go for antenatal, men, they don't want to go for antenatal. They're supposed to go with a woman. And at that time, they are being taught how to take care of the women that they have in their lives. Like you said, Abigail, we have neurotransmitters, we have all kinds of emotions, hormonal changes, and all of those things. Some people cannot really balance their emotions at that time. I remember there was a time we went to the hospital, and this lady, every time she's pregnant, she has to be in the hospital like for 6 months with her legs raised and her vagina sewed so that the baby will not come, because she's always having, they say she had a word they use, I don't know, doctors call it, they say her cervix could not
hold the
I don't know, I
baby.
say yes, could not hold the baby. That's a word they use, I say hostile cervicals. So every time she got pregnant, they had to hang. Just imagine a woman sitting in the hospital bed for 6 months on her back, so that there should be the fertilization, the baby form, because the moment she puts her leg down, the semen, everything is just going to roll out, and they have to start from scratch. So when it comes to all those things, self-care, women ourselves have to, I don't know, sometimes we don't know how to take care of ourselves because we have been wired to think that we have to pour out. So Doc said sometimes you pour out until you are dry. There's nothing left. Your child is coming. Mommy, I'm hungry. Your husband is coming. He's hungry. In the night, he will come. In the day, you are working. You are doing this. You're doing that. If you are not careful, if you're not, the word is intentional. If you are not intentional, you forget yourself. I remember somebody gave me money. And when the money touched my hand, I paid for something. Then the balance, I went to the market. I bought tomato. I bought onions. I bought pepper. I bought this. I bought that. Practically, that part of that money went for family and everything. Then on Sunday, we went to church. And when we're coming back, we passed, there's a supermarket in Ghana called Melcom. I said, you know what? I'm going to Melcom. I want to buy something for myself. So when I went in the supermarket with my daughter, my 2 daughters, they kept saying, oh, mommy, buy Coke. The only thing they heard me say was, I'm not buying anything for anybody today. See this coming that I'm coming to the supermarket.
It's
I'm
for
buying
me.
For me.
Went to the place. I wanted a spray because I go to the gym. I wanted a spray that's for athletes, something that will help when you go to the gym. You can use it. I went to the Adidas stand. I picked one. I put it in my bag. I held it. She looked at me. Mommy, I said, don't want anything today. Don't want. I
No.
walked again. Film version of that spray. I picked it. I held it. Hey, mommy, you said, I said, I'm not buying. A Coke, I said, I'm not buying. She said, biscuit, I said, I'm not buying. You see this today? I'm not buying anything. We walked around the supermarket. I didn't buy anything. I went straight. I was looking for my sporting gear. So I went to the top where they had the fitness section. They didn't have the gloves because I'm lifting weight. I wanted gloves. They said, oh, they don't have. I said, no problem. I carried my spray and my perfume, walked straight to the teller. They were talking. I said, no. Until I got, they said, mommy, that's not fair. I said, my sister and my brother, you see me like this. I'm not ready for you. I'm bought. You people should allow me to have this small thing.
Exactly.
Times it will look like you're wicked, that kind of thing. It will come out like, oh, mommy's wicked. No, you have to be intentional.
Yes.
That this is what you want to do for yourself and follow through. You want to go to the spa, you want to go out for a holiday, even if it's a day out of town, go to a resort, do something, but just have that day to yourself where you don't have to baby, husband, mother, auntie, uncle, father. just block the world out. Just carry yourself. As if the world is burning. In short, if the house is burning, nobody should call my phone. I said, stop. You know, that's it. Because if you don't do that, Abigail, you would not have that time to. Dog is laughing.
I'm just trying
You
to
have that
picture how much of a
No.
struggle that must have been. As you're saying, it's like,
It
oh
is.
my
No,
goodness. Yeah.
yeah, intentionality, you have to be. Because if you're not intentional, you always be swayed and not have that time. Like
Yeah.
I went to the spa. I told my husband, today I'm going to the spa. He said, no problem. He drove me there. I had a massage. I said I wanted to go visit a friend in the restaurant. He took me there. I went there. I didn't see him. Then I went home. I slept like a baby. You should always have those moments as
Mhm.
where you take care of yourself, you know. Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
no,
much. Thank you. In fact, this was actually how will I put it? Like everybody could relate to it. Yes. I'm pretty sure everyone listening to us at this moment will be able to relate to it. And while we were speaking, it made me remember something. Someone once said something. As a woman, if you die in the process of trying to please everyone, if you die in the process of being selfless to everyone, by the time you die, those people you lost your life for, they will live their life. And you'll be surprised that they can live life better than you've ever imagined. So do you practice self-care?
Yes,
And to the
yes.
women watching, you might want to do what Deborah did. You might just want to go to just have your own time. Tell everybody, please, I've been doing you for a very long time. Today, I just want it to be all about me. And I'm very sure that your brain, your mind, your body will be happy with you. You'll be surprised you will sleep
And if
so
I can
well.
add, Abigail,
It's
I
true.
think, yeah, if I can
telling
add
you.
a little bit there, because I know also, I mean, Deborah, even now I'm still laughing because I'm just trying to picture you in that supermarket, with the girls. And I'm thinking, even
Yeah.
on your part, in the back of the mind, I mean, I'm imagining if it was me, the struggle, like, I have to keep to this script. I have to keep to this script. They're not going to make me touch anything, not even candy, not even sweet. I'm not buying them anything. But I think there's a small piece that I would like to reflect on, Abigail, before you move on. I know also that for some of the people that are watching us, there's an element of, what a privilege. They can afford to go to spa, they can afford to go to a restaurant, they can afford to, yeah, you're right, you're absolutely right. It is a privilege, to be able to do some of these things. But I think what I just wanted to kind of chip in really quickly is, it doesn't have to cost anything as such. And I'm talking about cost in terms of money, because everything has some kind of cost, emotional, psychological cost, are other elements to look at. But in terms of taking time for yourself, in terms of self-care, even if it's right there in the home, let's say for instance, you have a young baby, and after you fed the baby is sleeping, you take the next 10-15 minutes to just quiet time for yourself. Meditate, maybe have a cup of tea, maybe, if you're into soft drink, maybe have a drink, just to pause and say, deep breathing. I want to, breathe in and out, for the next, 10-15 minutes before, the big kids run home from school, or before the husband arrives from work, or before you have to go and help, your elderly, parents. Some of us are in this, sandwich generation, we're taking care of children, we're taking care of parents. And again, to recognize that we don't have to attach, financial burden to, this self-care that we're talking about. Oh, I have to think about to go to a spa. Oh, now I have to think about to take a vacation to London or wherever before I can say I have self-care. It's in the little things. When I saw that question, I thought, one of the things that crossed my mind, for instance, is how every morning, before anything else, before I even step out of bed, it's not negotiable. That is the beginning of self-care for me. I am reflecting, I am meditating, I am praying. Sometimes it's only 5 minutes I give you out. Sometimes it's 15 minutes. Sometimes it's extended. It could be up to 30 minutes, depending on how early we wake up. Right there, while still in bed, while still back, while still covered, I'm like, new time. So by the time I step on the bed, it's like, okay, let's take on the world. What's next? Of course, there are also moments, throughout the day where I'm like, okay, lunchtime meeting, you might have meal with the colleagues, and then take like 15 minutes and go for that walk. Me time. I emphasize that a lot. Sometimes I kid you not, it's in the washroom. I could be but I'm having a shower or even just using the washroom. Me time. So take an extra 5 minutes. Take an extra 10 minutes. Because all these things add up. For example, they talk about Deborah was talking earlier about exercising and going to the gym. Over time, we've had about the whole conversation, I take 10,000 steps a day. And then they realize that nobody is doing the diet. Okay, take 2,000 steps today, 3,000 steps a day. Just do something. Just do something. Do something. Don't wait until it's this huge, this big thing. Oh, now I need 2,500. Now I need 1,000,000 there before I can go and have vacation in my front. No. Have vacation in your backyard. You can sit down, buy Bondi and granite and sit down and say me time. And the children are coming and saying, Mommy, give me some granite. It's like, like Deborah said, no, this one is for me. Oh no, but there's no more granite in the house. I know. This one is for me. Me time. I honestly cannot emphasize this enough. I have seen the value of it in my life, seen how much it has helped me in terms of instilling in myself. Remember, this is a piece that I always, advocate to myself, and I also tell my children, you are number one in your own life. Take care of number one. I used to get this conversation where people say things like, oh no, but what about God? I'm like, you don't need to count with God in you. No,
Exactly.
He's supreme over and above. If you number him, then at some point you're going to say, oh, somebody took the place of God in my life. No, don't number him. Just put him above, over and above, and then you can start numbering people. When you start numbering people, you're number one.
Why?
Because the analogy I always give them is the analogy that has never, ever left, what is it called? When you fly. What do they tell us? If there's turbulence, if there's an emergency, before you help even your child, before you help the next person, put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Why? If you are not okay, you can try when you want. If you don't have oxygen, how are you going to help the next person? And so the reasoning, the idea of your number one, take care of number one. It's not just about, oh, now you're encouraging people to be selfish. Yes, be selfish. Yourself.
Yeah.
Yourself. Once you are strong, once you're capable, then you can pour into other people. Then you can say, oh, now, you're pouring from an empty, dry vessel. You're going to pour anger, you're going to pour frustration, you're going to project, you're going to see everybody as the enemy. But when you reach in yourself, and I'm not saying wait until you're super rich, it's okay. I want to talk to Abigail. I would like to have a word with Amy. I think it would be good to have coffee with XYZ person. Oh, children, let's go for lunch. Another day, no, today is not for children. I'm going for lunch with my friend only. Oh, today is not for anybody. I'm going to my house She went by myself, like Deborah said. She wanted to go to the spa. The husband got back on foot. He understood right away. This is me time. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you. While we were speaking, while we are having the webinar, this is to let us know that a whole lot of people were paying attention. We have a few questions here, and I think 2 questions came in for Deborah. The first question is, can Deborah share with us the support her husband gave her? And the second question is, what of the hospital? Were they able to notice the changes in your emotions, and what did they do? Thank you.
Okay, one of the things I would say is my husband was very helpful, because trust me, if he wasn't, I don't think I would still be married, because overwhelming, it's like you've met this person, very sweet, very nice, very loving, and the next minute it looks like the person has become another person entirely. And if the man doesn't have patience, and there was something I did on my show called paternal postpartum, men to go through postpartum, paternal, but because it's not talked about enough, we concentrate on the women, because it's actually the woman that went to labor. As much as we concentrate on the woman, we also have to look at the man, because sometimes you cannot cope. I've seen cases where a man, when the woman gives birth, you say, go to your mother. He may be with postpaternal, like paternal postpartum, but he may not know how to relate or understand what he's going through. The best thing is, okay, just go to your mother, let them go and take care of and this. But I would say that my husband really did well. He did not also understand what was going on, but he supported. He gave shoulder to cry on. Pre-pregnancy, during the pregnancy, my food was being prepared by him. He did the cooking for me a day when I was pregnant. I never went, I know. There were just certain things I just couldn't stand. You can't spray perfume around me, I would vomit. You can't answer all around me. There were a lot of things that switched emotionally, hormonally, that even I, the person concerned, I don't know why I'm angry. I just get angry. Why am I? I don't know. Sometimes if I see him, I get angry. I don't know. And that also affected, even after the baby was born, intimacy was affected for a long time. It's like, oh, this thing, I don't want to get pregnant again. So it was a big struggle. But for what it's worth, I would say he did a very, very good job, excellent job. For the hospital, I really wasn't exhibiting any of the symptoms in the hospital, because when I was going for antenatal, the nurses kept saying, the way I'm behaving, they know that I'm going to disturb them during labor, because I kept coming and going and complaining and having issues and stuff. So they were like, we are dead, we are finished. In short, this girl will kill us. So I remember I told the doctor that because my daughter I was born on the 4th of December. I had 4th of December as my EDD, and I also had 11th. So on the 3rd, before the 3rd, I called my doctor and said I wanted to give birth on my birthday. So he said, okay, I should come on the 3rd so that he would induce labor. Then I could give birth the following day. So 3rd, I was in the hospital. And I told him, oh, doc, I've come. We remember our agreement. He said, oh, don't worry. By the time I'm done with you, you'll be crying. At that time, I'm in my house sleeping. I will not be in the hospital to see you. And, everybody's like, hey, this woman just come, that kind of thing. So when the whole thing started, I was strong. I was really surprised. Not that I was strong. It's just, come out. I'm tired. Anything I'll do to just get the baby out, I was ready to do it. And also, at that time, something happened. A lady and I were going for antenatal at the same time. It's like she lost the baby because they didn't want, the mother-in-law said they didn't want her to do CS. That in their family, nobody do CS before. Now, so this woman lose this baby. So they were scared. It's my husband. They were speaking in Ghanaian language. So they kind of wrapped the baby. They were doing some stuff like that. So my husband was like, "Oh, they didn't want me to know. It's like if I knew, I'll get afraid that probably this might happen to me." That woman's problem is not my problem. Oh, no, it's not the way to bring me come to this hospital.
Our problem different.
So by the time I was getting dilated and everything, they had to cut the burst the water and everything. And before long, I gave birth to the shock and amazement of the nurses. They kept the following day. My husband went. By the time he came, I had given birth in the night around 1 a.m. or so. And when he came back, they were like, "Your wife is strong. We thought that she would worry us. Oh, this woman." Just like that. I was just looking at them. I said, "People don't know. You both."
You explain, no evidence. They don't know.
At that time is when I went back home and I was alone with my husband and I didn't have help. You know, when you give birth, you have the baby's up, you're up and everything. It just was overwhelming. I would say that. By the time my mother-in-law came, the whole thing, I had already gone, like, I was way out of it. But so basically the hospital, sometimes the hospital, you might not exhibit symptoms of postpartum in the hospital. But when you go home, it can be triggered when you're not there in the hospital. But if it happens, I don't know
how they would have handled it.
Some of the nurses and doctors, how much insight they have to recognize. Because I personally, I remember my husband's cousin. We went to this house, and the moment we entered the house, the woman just came straight. She gave the baby to me, and she just turned and left and walked away. I was in that house for almost an hour plus. She never came back to the room where the baby was and come and ask and check. I just told my husband she's having postpartum. He said, "How do you know?" I said, "Haven't you? Who's new born baby, abandoned baby?" Like, no. You understand? It's the kind of things. So when that happened, I said something. The postpartum. I said, talk to him so that you could talk to a specialist about, let her see if you can process her feelings and talk to somebody. She may not talk to you.
So follow me and let's get it done. From here, choose your country or region.
I said she may not talk
and you'll be asked to choose a.
For my end. Selassie, stop that. So are you hearing me?
Yes, we can.
Are you listening? You hear me? Okay.
Yes,
we can hear you.
Went off. I don't know.
We can hear you. Please proceed.
Okay, you can hear me. Okay.
Yes.
So because of that, I can pick.
Set up your internet connection. If you have wide connect.
I can pick like people like women. I could just like go within a space because I've been through. I can easily recognize when another. You understand? So some doctors and nurses may not, but
be able to. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I want to believe that response has provided everything that the person who asked the question has given the response to the person. I jotted just a few lines while you were speaking. And just to add up, you don't need to understand their pain. Just give the support and be kind. To everyone listening there, you don't need to understand their pain. Just give the support and be kind. As medical professionals, don't let your kindness end at the place of oath-taking. Don't just be kind in your mind. Be kind in your words and be kind in your actions. Thank you. And that question came in while Deborah was answering hers. This question was directed to Dr. Jumoke. It said, with regards to the comments in which you spoke of on Facebook, I quote, "I just had the PTSD. What can you do in such a situation? Do you think we can give certain response or we should just mind our business?" This is to Dr. Jumoke, please.
Yeah, no, thank you. I think in a lot of cases, some of those comments are actually made in a snide way. It's almost like a snide remark. Without meaning to pathologize people, I don't think that it's meant literally when they make those comments. I've seen a couple of them where, you're scrolling down the comment section of the post and, somebody says something like, oh, this subject that these people are talking about and the way that a lot of people are responding to it, oh, this is giving me PTSD. And I'm thinking, I don't think they mean that literally. I actually think they're making fun of, the condition, if you will, one, but everyone, potentially, possibly, in some other cases, they project. Other cases, quite frankly, probably it's possible that the person is indeed recognizing that, what they just read, or what they just viewed, or what they just experienced is triggering some kind of trauma for them. In that space at that moment, I don't recommend, engaging specifically with that comment, because unless you're actually a mental health professional, are actually trained to be able to professionally carry on that conversation, I would leave it alone, specifically to that. Now, if there is room to say that whoever has made such a comment proceeds to, further, say or post something that is connected to that, and you want to talk in private. So, how you have the DM, you could send it, message one-on-one and be like, oh, I read your comment on X person's post, I hope you're okay. This is something I can do to help. Would you like to talk? If you're comfortable to do that, keep in mind, remember, for a lot of the people that watching us and listening to our conversation, that are engaging with us, they're not professionals. So, having said that, if you're offering me helping me to say, oh, I need to hold my sister's hand, I need to hold my brother's hand, this person said they're traumatized by something. Oh, is there something I can do to help? I know of the Workmind Clinic, for instance. I know of, XYZ Place. I know of, the Growers platform. Would you like to talk to somebody who walk this journey with you? Because I think it's very important to recognize that sometimes there's also this misconception where people give very they give heavy weight to physical health. Somebody's bleeding. Oh, get the first aid box, put a band-aid on. Somebody just hit their head. You can see, oh no, let's put some ice on it. Talking about the mind, which is invisible, as in you can't really see what, even if you break up somebody's head, unless you're trained, you can't really see what is going on internally. I think it's important to recognize that space as a space that needs professional support. But if you're looking at first line intervention, first line support, for instance, let's say I'm talking to Amy and I say something, and Amy says to me, oh, do you think you might want to, have a conversation with a psychologist, with a counselor? Defensive answer, I'm like, wow, why do you think so? Really? What do you think? What did I say? Well, I've noticed that you said this or you said that or you acted this way or you were harsh when I did something or the way you responded to something. I mean, I could get mad. I could get angry. I'm like, what do you mean? What makes you think? Oh, no, I could be receptive and say, oh, I think you will recognize. I didn't even realize that happened. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, definitely. I would like to, speak to somebody about it. What do you recommend? So again, unless you're actually trained counselor, psychotherapy, psychology, psychiatrist, professional along all of those numbers and those spaces, you can be in frontline support. You can initiate conversation, but make sure that you're not pathologizing people.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure not sitting and stepping into spaces that you're not, qualified to occupy, because at the end of the day, you may be doing more harm than good. So I think that's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Jumoke. And I believe the person who asked the question already got the response. And also, even those who needed the response or did not ask the question, they've gotten the response. We're already coming up, we're already wrapping up, coming to the end of the session. But a question came in for Abigail. It said, in conception and delivery, and while I was reading, I was like, wow, this actually has a sync with what Deborah said earlier. In conception and delivery, is there a difference between normal delivery and CS? And this is my response. There is no such thing as normal delivery. All deliveries are normal. The goal is that the mother and the neonates, who are now the kids, are alive. And that's all that matters. If you love your wife that much, if the doctor says there's a complication, there is a health challenge, we need to conduct an emergency CS, we need to book her for a CS, give all that support and love. The part of loving one person over the other person and don't minding one person should go because you want to hold on to your rigid and regimented belief, please let that stop after watching this webinar. Thank you. And then a general question came in. This is the last question, yes. He said, when we FICON be having a physical mental health awareness campaign in marginalized communities and DP camps in Nigeria? This is to Dr. Jumoke.
Oh, that's a big one. Well, that's interesting. Actually, it's interesting that you brought that up, because we do right now in this space where we're trying to set up online models where we would have sessions that people, it will be self-directed. You can actually go on our website and you click in and you're able to go into the virtual classroom and follow self-directed model. What does it mean? What does mental health mean? What is PTSD? What is so we're actually thinking of that. And now we thought that would be a good first step to build on the conversations we're having through the webinars. That it will also be a good first step to kind of consolidate some of the materials that we've been putting together. But I think in terms of an actual physical in-person event, we're going to definitely be looking for partnership and support to be able to bring that to place. But it is something that is also top of mind for us. It is something that we think will be really, really valuable. Because again, when you think about it, I will be curious and I'll be really interested to see who shows up. Because remember, when you're talking about this thing, what mental health wedding, I don't want to be seen in that space. Somebody might think that I'm crazy. Are you really? No, it's not about that. So I don't want to put a time to it, but it's something that I would like to see materialize before this year runs out. I think it's possible for us to do. We start however small we can and we build on from there. And now I'm going to be asking our chief psychologist that is on this call to make the commitment that she will be one of our big partners for that live event. See, she's smiling. She said yes. I had yes.
That's a yes.
There you go.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Velvet, my dear.
You're
We'll
welcome.
definitely be big partners in that
Thank you. Thank you so much for the response. And I believe the question has been answered. And so our listeners, our viewers, I believe you've gotten a whole lot from today's discussion. If you would love to donate to the organization, kindly do. You want to support and say, oh, I got value this, I'll be supporting with XYZ pounds, I'll be supporting with XYZ dollars, I'll be supporting with XYZ Naira, XYZ CDs. Please kindly proceed, because we are very sure that this person who asked this question of marginalized community and DP camps, by the time we have a drop of water here, a drop of water there, a drop of water there. Before you know what is going on, it will answer the last question is of where do we see mental health among women in the next 5 to 10 years? Where we see mental health among women in the next 5 to 10 years is that we want every woman to be able to share her pain without the fear of being judged, just being stigmatized. We want every woman, the same way she will walk into a hospital, we want every woman to be able to walk into a mind clinic and say, can I get a clinical psychologist, please? The same way a woman will walk into the shopping mall, grab a jar of candy, of cookie. We want every woman to be able to walk out there, go to a mind pharmacy. Maybe we never can tell. There might be a mind pharmacy tomorrow, and she will go there and she will pick a jar of anxiety tea without even getting a covering to it. She walks down the street without being stigmatized, without the fear of being judged. And that is the future we look into. And we're pretty sure that that future is going to benefit a whole lot of people. And as we bring this webinar to a close, I want to ask us in just a 2-3 sentences, what do you have for our viewers today? We'll start with our guest speaker, Deborah Dort-Dotse. Over to you, please.
So one of the things I'm very passionate about, and one of the things I love, is for us to get educated. A lot of people are still ignorant. And the level of ignorance we are experiencing is one of the reasons stigmatization is still thriving. There's a lot of reasons why people cannot come out, because the moment you say mental health is associated with madness. Wrong with you. And nobody wants to be looked at as mad. Nobody wants to be looked at as if there's something wrong with them. Even organizations, corporate organizations, we have people that are scared to write that they went for a mental health evaluation. Because they'll be stigmatized in the office. A lady shared her story. She said she had this challenge and she had this colleague that they've been in the office, they were close, and she felt that, okay, I think it's about time I probably tell somebody that I'm battling with this mental health condition. The day she said it, the day she was fired.
And I can relate to this. I think sometime last year, sorry to interject, there was a memo that went around Twitter and it went viral. The organization released to their employees, what are you being mentally stressed? Questions relating to mental health. And people in all honesty, we're thinking that, oh, the organization is really concerned about their mental health. They gave their honest response. What if I tell you that it went viral that the organization fired everyone that had a complaint with regards to their mental health? They said, oh, we can see that you are tired, you have a mental health challenge. Please, we are laying you off. I put that on LinkedIn about January this year. It went viral with almost 8,000 reposts. And honestly speaking, it's strategic. It's a tragedy. And just like Deborah has said, even the corporate organizations need to do something about it. Deborah, sorry, I actually interjected. Over to you back, please.
Okay. So I just think that we need a lot of education and we need a lot of community support. Because when people are educated about what mental health actually is, people can get the support that they actually need. And the reason why I went right down to the youth mental health, I think that we wait for it to fester until it gets to adulthood. We can't. So when I go to the schools and talk to the children, I'm all about peer-to-peer support. Support your friend, because we have boys stabbing their friends. Why would a kid, an 18-year-old boy or a 16-year-old boy stab the friend in an argument? There is a brooding anger, something is brooding in the background that needs that outlet and all those things. So sometimes when I was talking, somebody said, you could teach the children about mental health. What about the parents? Because it's coming from the house. Some of them are toxic environments, in abusive environments, and they are seeing some of those things. Your mother being manhandled, your father being manhandled, your sister being abused. A lot of those things have inbuilt effect on some of these kids as they are growing. Like I don't know if it's in Ghana or Nigeria that happened. It's Ghana, yeah, the Kwame Nkrumah University. A 21-year-old guy strangled his girlfriend to death. Not only did he strangle the girl to death, he left her lying dead and walked into an examination hall and wrote his exams. He was writing. What happened that he was caught was because there are security cameras on campus. And when they went to play back, because they went to prep and everything, they went to read, and it was just two of them that were coming. So the camera picks that they had an argument, a confrontation, and he's like, he squeezed her, whatever happened, and the whole thing went. So you can look at a 21-year-old guy strangling another human being. There's something wrong somewhere. It's not two drops here, drops there have accumulated into something that you are creating monsters in disguise. We don't even know until when something comes to shove, and we have people stabbing people, children stabbing lecturers in class, and all that starts coming out, and we're like, this person surely has a mental health problem. The way children have a mental health problem now, it's not time to address some of those issues while they were much younger. The opportunity to give them the opportunity to be heard and discussed. We assume, like when I'm talking about mental health, people say, hey, you're talking to youth about mental health. Do they have mental health problem? You say they don't pay bills. They are being taken care of, because we believe that the people that pay bills are the people that have mental health problems. And because they are being taken care of, your school fees is being paid, your school is being taken care of, everything about you, you have no business being mentally unstable or not having issue. But because it is been like that, you see, we have people will just be moving around saying, after all, they may not have it. So I just think we should have empathy. Abigail, empathy.
Yes, empathy.
Yes, people are struggling. We should have empathy, support, empathy. Don't brush people off when they try to talk about what they are going through. That may be your only opportunity to save them. Just that ear. Because when we talk about reflective listening and active listening, sometimes they don't want a solution. They just want to be heard. So if they come, you don't need to go to Abigail to go and listen. You sitting and listening and watching, you can be that one that can be the bridge between you, the person going to Abigail, and losing it altogether. Sometimes the person may not have that time to go to Abigail in the clinic to go and sit before her, because there's already a mindset that if I'm going to a clinic, that means something is wrong with me. But you can be that says, sister, this thing, okay, how are you feeling? Are you okay? What's the issue? Okay, talk to me. But now people are scared. Social media. Before you know, you are all over the place. You remember Genevieve, there was a time this picture came out that she was
depressed, and it went everywhere.
Just imagine. Let's even assume that Genevieve was not there for that reason. But look at the way it went viral. So
very well.
Nobody wants to be that person. They say, I beg, may they not use me chase cloud. So monetization has made people, they have lost their sense of reasoning. So if you lose God, they will use
monetize.
To monetize. So everybody now, even that they are afraid to even talk to somebody, the person can record you. And the person wants to be the first to break the news that, I spoke to Dr. Jumoke, don't mind that thing that she's doing there. She herself have mental problem. Don't mind her. You understand? Me and her were discussing. I recorded her. This is the conversation. You understand? So even the therapist, the person is afraid to go to the therapist. People are afraid to go to pastors. People are afraid to go and open up to people because they are afraid of what that information. You understand? It's very key. So confidentiality. Can you keep people's secrets? People will come and confide. Are you the radio Akwa one battery? Immediately you collate social media. They have heard it. Yeah. So we just have to balance it. Getting people to talk. We want people to open up, but people are also scared. So there should be, doctor, a balance. Some sort of a balance. So we give people a safe space to say that talk, nobody will hear it. No matter what you tell me, because that's the fear. If you don't give that assurance, they will not talk.
Exactly.
Men, you get it to talk. Yeah. So I think we need to do more work. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Dr. Jumoke, what would you love to leave the audience with, please?
Hope.
Hope.
Lots of hope. We need to continue to stay positive and hopeful. I think also the importance of continuing to have these conversations.
Yes.
I think
yes, continuity.
It's one of the reasons why I became even more and more interested in looking for opportunities for us to look at different dimensions of mental health, mental wellness, is to break the stigma. It's going to take ages. I don't think this is ending tomorrow. I mean, it didn't start 2 days ago. This is generational issues. Deborah was talking earlier about, catching them when they are young. But at the same time, we have to double end it, right? Also talking to the parents, because now people that are already grown in their ways, but recognizing that this issue is not unique to one demographic. Oh no, it's people who pay bills. Oh no, it's people who are married. Oh no, it's people who get pregnant. Or it goes across. I mean, children as young as 10, 12, they are committing crimes that are inconceivable. See what they were talking about earlier. How did a 13-year-old think to go and stab somebody? It is going on. What are they thinking? What's going on at home? What's going on in their minds? Right? And so when I talk about maybe, our viewers, before, the reasoning is around, all of us having this expectation, this desire, this hope that we can continue to have these conversations. We can continue on this journey. We can be the support to the next person, like Deborah said, without waiting to say, go and say Abigail, go and say psychologist. I'm here right now. I will listen to you. I might not be professional advice, but I will listen. If that's all you want, I'm happy to listen to you. It's valuable time, it's valuable opportunity. But I think also, in addition to that, hope that more and more people will start to engage in these issues, will start to engage with this topic, will be willing to recognize some of these things in themselves when they say it's easy to recognize in other people. You're crazy. What is wrong with you? You're mad. You look depressed, you look tired. You can recognize in yourself when you need to pause, when you need to take a break, when you need to step back, when you need to talk to somebody, when it's okay not to type that email at work, when you might want to reconsider that comment that you want to make on somebody's post, when perhaps it's not a perfect time to make this big, long post on your Twitter, Instagram, and all. Essentially, not rejecting, not having outbursts, simply because, you're now at this point of, oh no, I'm just going to give it to them. Don't get to that point, being able to recognize in yourself, when you need to pause, when you need to reflect, when you need to do self-care, so that at every point in time, you're able to be in a relatively decent, amount of control of your own emotions, to be able to know how to direct, anger. If there is good anger, right? It's not all bad. And how to be able to negotiate that, so at the end of the day, you're not bleeding onto other people, right? Throwing things, people that are like, oh no, what happened? How did we get here? What did I do? What did I say? And it's like, I don't know. I'm being unnecessarily, grumpy because you have not taken care of your own. So hope that we will recognize that we are, number one, and extremely important in our own lives, and that we need to take care of ourselves so that we will be good, at taking care of other people. So on this International Women's Day of 2025, and I hope that when we come again to reflect in another year, another couple of years, another, couple of decades, that we will be talking about the gains, that we will be talking about, the positive outcomes of conversations that, we're having right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jumoke. And I'll leave just a few lines. In celebration of the International Women's Day, to every woman out there listening to us and who have heard us, I want to drop this for you. When it comes to your mental health, please be selfish. Be you. Do you. And I'll leave you with this homework. Write out things you need to do to make you happy and feel good. After you've written them down, please start doing it now. Now is the best time to start. And I'll leave everyone with this, to the male, the female, to everyone. If you can't give support or help, please don't add to the pain. If you can't give support or help, please don't add to the pain. And on this note, I want to thank us for listening through. We're pretty sure you had a lovable moment. Yeah, it was really interesting, educating, inspiring, and insightful. And once again, Deborah Dort-Dotse, our guest speaker, thank you so much for honoring the invitation. On behalf of Fecund Trust, I say thank you. And you're welcome. And to our founder, Dr. Jumoke, thank you. Thank you for bringing the initiative of this webinar as a way of creating and supporting mental health advocacy and awareness. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Abigail. Thank you, Deborah, for honoring us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And just to let you know that I also practice self-care. Abigail, thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. We thank Abigail for coordinating us and putting this together for us. We're grateful. Thank you.
You're welcome. And to Ami, we understand the bandwidth was actually, there were glitches from your part. We appreciate you joining in the session. Though our viewers, we are unable to see your face, but they know that you are behind the scene because we mentioned Ami at one point or the other. So to Ami, we say thank you. We look forward that the next webinar, you would be able to turn on your video camera. All right.
Thank you too.
Bye, everyone. Enjoy and happy International Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day. Thank you, Abigail. Thank you, Deborah and Amy. Bye. Bye, Abigail. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Amazing.